Welcome all my fellow clergymen, I'm the Funeral Parlor. Today's video, I wanted to start off by saying that we've had Benny's, like, shop in the game for quite some time, and we only have, like, how many vehicles in total? Like 30-ish vehicles that are available for, Benny's conversions, and I'm not a huge fan of some of them because some of them are just like some of the more like basic cars in the game, while like obviously others have been added that I like really like. Prime example, the um, the Gauntlet Classic Custom, the Bravado Gauntlet Classic Custom. There's 4 words I have to say really fast. But there are some other ones that I don't like. Big example is the one that I just did that I already sold, which is the Banshee 900R. So today I'm coming at you with top 10 cars that could use Benny's upgrades. Now some of these are going to be like specific, some of these are not going to be. There's a couple that I already know that aren't going to be extremely specific, but these are cars that I've seen that I think that would do good with the proper like Benny's upgrade that I think it could use. I would personally like to see them just add the upgrade instead of adding another version of the car, but if they ever do add another version and it's like that version, I guess it's not terrible. I just don't like when they add the same car but as a different style when you could just make it a Benny's car and be done with it. But without further ado, I am currently sitting in the garage that has all 10 in this top 10. These are in no particular order, but to try to get through this quickly, I'm going to start. So the first one, we have the Albany Hermes, which is based on the 1949 to 1951 Mercury 8. Now, what's interesting about this car is that it's got a little bit of like hydraulics in it already. And that's interesting to me because the fact that this doesn't have it makes me think that they could have and they just never did. They just added this one back into the game recently. I luckily had one whenever they took it out, but for those that didn't know, they just recently added the Hermes back, and it's got a missile lock-on jammer that you can add to it, so that's pretty cool. Next one up is the Classe Tampa GT, which is primarily based on the 1967 Plymouth Belvedere. Now, I will say that this has to be like my favorite as far as this new Money French DLC cars that came out. This has got to be like my favorite. I'm putting this over the Sentinel GTS because I'm not a huge fan of that car in real life. I don't actually know what it is, but this car right here is super clean. I was so stoked when they put this into the game because I was like, honestly, we're finally getting an updated Tampa that actually looks really nice. And I just, like I said, I really like it. I think that if this was a Benny's conversion, just like dropping it down to the ground would look pretty cool. That's all I got to say about this one. The next one up is the Class A Tahoma Coupe, which is primarily based on the 1978 to 1980 Monte Carlo, which you can find in Training Day and in Breaking Bad. Training Day one was black, the one from Breaking Bad was like a red orange. But this one's interesting because, again, this is another one that, just like the Hermes, is a little interesting because I mean this one doesn't have like the built-in like little hydraulic that the Hermes does, but this car absolutely deserved a Benny's upgrade. I think dropping it low or adding hydraulics to it would be a really nice addition to this car because its price tag, which is at 1.5 mil, like just for the base model of this car, is not really like one of those things that just grabs your attention. It's like, okay, well, I just spent 15. I luckily have two that I didn't have to pay for because they were free, I think like the week that they came out, which was about a couple years ago, I want to say. But overall, not a bad car. Next one up is the Class A Impaler LX, which is primarily based on the 1980-1985 Chevy Impala. Another one that I truly do believe should have a Benny's upgrade because, well, it just looks really clean. I really like this car. I honestly didn't think I was going to like it, but then I ended up buying it on sale and was like, okay, I actually really like this. And I had to black it out because the white walls and the blackout of it just looks real clean. Like I said, being able to like drop this on the ground or even put hydraulics on it would be really cool. Most people would agree with that too. Next one up is the Willard Eudora, which is based on the 1960 Buick Electra 225. Um, this one I really like. It's a four-door. Didn't really actually think it looked like a Buick Electra whenever I first saw it, and when most people like got into it. But I like the paint scheme that I did on this one, which is like this dark blue up top and this like light pink in the middle. It just made it look so clean. I really like this vehicle. I don't drive it as much, but then again, I don't drive a whole lot of vehicles that aren't really fast to begin with, but I've been getting into the habit of driving more of my vehicles. This is one of the ones that I really need to start driving more because this is actually a really nice vehicle. Next up, we got the Impante Dukes, which is probably one of the oldest cars in this garage in this current moment. But the Impante Dukes is based on the Pontiac GTO anywhere from 1967 to 1970. I know if anybody like is gonna see this, they're gonna correct me like, oh, it's based on the. Yeah, look, I looked it up on the wiki for GTA. There's too many cars. I wasn't about to say that. All right, I'm sticking with what I knew, and I truly do believe that this car could use some major overhauling. Maybe dropping it to the ground. Maybe like giving it some extra like body flare. Me personally, I would love to change the back of this because this car, like, I really like it, but the back of it always gets me, and I'm just like, I don't like this car that much, and it's mainly because of the back. Love the front of it though. Just wish that we could have more. Um, Next one up is the what is this? The Class A Tulip M100. I am so sorry that I had to do that, but I completely spaced what this car was. Um, the Class A Tulip M100 is based on the 1980s Chevy Malibu Coupe. Another one that whenever I first saw it, wasn't a huge fan of it. I got it on sale, customized it to this, and I was like, okay, this is actually clean as fuck. Another one that I personally wish we could like drop to the ground or something, maybe put some hydraulics on it. Either of those would be like really good. Um, like I said, would be really cool, but I don't know if we're actually going to get that or not. It would be nice. Next up, we got the Declasse Yosemite 1500, which is primarily based on the 1999 to 2002 Chevy Silverado 1500. Now, this one was a little bit interesting. I didn't know how I was going to approach this one, but when I thought about it, somebody else actually gave me the idea. Somebody that I watch on YouTube gave me the idea because at first I was like, I wouldn't have thought of this, and then I thought about it and I was like, well, you could do two things. You could either A, raise it up, or B, slam it to the ground. Either way it goes, I think that this one right here would probably be the best one to maybe slam to the ground, but raising it up or like even giving it like a wider like body type, or maybe like give it out like the pushed out wheels. I don't know what that's like technically called. Giving it that would probably give it some extra oomph. I think I really like that, and I just had to say oomph really. But, okay, anyway, moving on. Second to last one, which is the Vapid Caracara 4x4, which is primarily based on the 2017 to 2020 Ford Raptor. This is another one that I think this one wouldn't look so good slammed to the ground. I kind of just wish that it had the like pushed out wheels though, because that's what most of the Ford Raptors look like, and that's what this is supposed to be based on, which it is. But overall a solid vehicle that I truly believe that, I mean, somebody would probably want to slam to the ground. Me personally, I wouldn't, but that's my personal opinion. Um, I think being able to like lift it up more with like the tires and whatnot would probably be pretty cool. Or maybe like do what they did to the Vapid Contender, which is not even technically a Ford vehicle, technically a Toyota vehicle, but they didn't put it as that in the game. They put it as the Vapid Contender instead of like the Karen something. So, um, yeah. Now the last one is another older vehicle that most people probably don't even remember existed, but it's the Vapid Guardian, which is primarily based on the 2004 to 2015 7th gen F650 along with the International XT. Now, this one is extremely interesting because there's a show that I watch primarily with like my dad, because my dad's the one that watches it more than me, called Texas Metal. And Bill and the guys on that show, they typically do like they'll do pretty much whatever as long as you've got the money. But a truck like this, when I thought about it, putting it in here, I was like, honestly, this could be. I could see this being like put on hydraulics, but being slammed into the ground. Um, I think this would be an absolute fantastic addition to Benny's because it would give this truck like a little bit more life, because this is one of the few trucks that a lot of people don't know this, but this is one of the few trucks that has actually 6 seats, because if you look back here you can see these two things. People can sit on that, but this is also another vehicle where if you climb into the bed and just stand in there and people drive, you can actually just stand in there and it won't move you around like it would on any other truck. This is one of like the only trucks, if I'm not mistaken, that you can stand on and it won't like flip you over and throw you off of it whenever the driver starts driving. So probably one of the cooler trucks for that reason. But like I said, slamming this into the ground, like giving it like the slow like lowering hydraulics to put it onto the ground would be really cool. Obviously, lifting it up whenever you want to drive it, but like you got a car show or something, at a car show you want to do with your friends, just take this there and be like, hey, look at this, I'm about to slam this to the ground. Put it down on the ground, put it down real low. I'd have to, if I did that, I'd have to change the rims though, because these rims would just not work with that. But and I probably have to change the tires too. I wouldn't mind changing the tires because I don't drive this like that, but I definitely would drive it if I could drop it super low to the ground. So, well, there you have it for my top 10. This is again my personal list. If you've got some cars that you think are vehicles that you think would make good Benny's like upgrades, then feel free to leave it in the comments. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like it, like it. If you didn't, leave a dislike. I'm not going to be able to see it anyway, at least I don't think. Um, that's all I've got for now. But until then, I'm the Funeral Parlor, and I will see you at the funeral.